Good morning, everybody. Fine to see that some of you made it out of bed shortly after midnight. Okay, this is Fun with NFC mobile phones. As already said, if you're expecting something else here, the Freifunk und Recht lecture was already yesterday. We switched time slots. Okay, so about the acoustics here, can you all understand me if I speak that way? Wonderful. Okay, so I start with a few words about myself. I'm from Vienna and currently living in Berlin. I earn my money with IT and web development, and I'm currently studying at the University of Arts in Berlin here. The institute is called Institute of Electronic Business. And on this institute, we recently, last year, we started playing around with NFC technology, near-field communication. And I'm going to present some of the findings we had in our research, and I try to give an overview over the technology and over the projects that are out there. And I will present one of the projects we did so far. So far, I've been involved in 3 projects in the context of NFC. And I guess it's an important technology, and it will play a major role in the future in very sensitive areas like payment and ticketing. And so it's definitely worth to have a closer look. And I would like to know from the audience, is any of you here who has an NFC device in his pocket right now? I see hands going to pockets. No? So who of you already has experience with near-field communication? Nobody. Okay, then I try to keep it simple. I'll give you an overview of what is near-field communication, what can you do with it. I'm not a very technical guy, so I can just tell you some things about the technology. I'm going into how you can use NFC devices. We will have a look at some of the devices. I also brought some, like this early one or now the modern version. And then we will have a look at some projects that are working with NFC. And I then present one of the projects I was involved in. We have a short look at the development infrastructure that is out there for near-field communication. And I would like afterwards, if there is interest from you, to go somehow into something like a workshop mode. I have one software development kit with me. We've got 3 phones, 2 of them working, and so we can try out several things. And if you are interested in getting your hands on these devices, then please stay around after the talk. I will try to keep it short so we have time enough afterwards. Okay, so what is near-field communication? It's wireless technology, connectivity, and it's based on RFID. And what makes it very special is that it only works in a very short range. We are talking 0 to 4 centimeters here. And we've got different modes of operation. I'm going into this later. But to give you a quick look, we have here something like NFC tags that are RFID tags. And if I touch one of them with my phone, I get some information out of it. So that's the basic process. What can it be used for? It's there for transactions between devices, between my mobile phone and, for example, a point of sale or another mobile phone. I can initiate the data transfer with it. So, for example, I can get a URL to a website on one of these tags, and as soon as I touch the tag, my phone connects to the internet and goes to that URL. What makes it really interesting is that it's extremely simple and easy to use. So this paradigm of touch is often used. NFC uses touching as the main process. The goal of NFC is to get RFID technology into very personal devices, like mobile phones, like the ones here, and you can also have NFC-enabled PDAs, and it's aimed at the mass market. So it's technology for consumers. It's not some niche, it's not only for logistics like other RFID implementations, it's for the consumers. NFC is heavily based on standards. There are several standards institutions involved, and therefore it has broad support in the industry. There is an organization called NFC Forum, which kind of holds together on a non-commercial level many companies and organizations working with NFC. And at the moment, I guess there are around 130 or so companies involved in this NFC Forum. And NFC technology is compatible to most already deployed RFID infrastructures. So we have a lot of smart cards and readers out there, and they all or most of them work with this NFC technology as well. A bit technical, NFC is working in the high frequency band, 13.56 megahertz. And what makes NFC different to other implementations in this frequency range? This thing here is also a RFID reader and a writer, and it can also emulate tags or smart cards. So in fact, it is integrating these three RFID standards into one circuit. And all of this is backed in here. There is one antenna behind the lid, and additional there is a selection algorithm which defines which of the three standards to use in one process of communication. The NFC Forum I've mentioned before is the standards organization that tries to keep all of this together. So there are basically three modes of operation for an NFC device. The one I already demonstrated is to read and write such tags. These can be embedded. There are sticky ones you can stick wherever you want. You can put them in toys, on papers, in posters, for example, is very common. You can also print them right into the paper already, and yeah, that's the basic mode of operation, probably the easiest, and also it's easiest to develop applications for this mode of operation, and so it's also the one I've started with and I've had the most experience so far. The much more interesting mode of operation is a smart card emulation. So this thing, also in closed and even without power, can emulate a smart card. You have maybe heard of smart cards based on MyFair or based on the 14443 ISO standard. They are used, for example, MasterCard has PayPass, so they've got this, or the Oyster card in London for public transport. These are smart cards that are working and they are compatible with it, and you can have these smart cards also on your phone. And that's the actual interesting goal of the NFC industry, that they want to pack all of these smart cards into one device and into one very personal device. You always have with you your mobile phone, I suppose. And so this makes this technology really, really interesting from my point of view. And there is also the peer-to-peer mode, where you can interact with another mobile phone and exchange data. But this is not very far at the moment. Okay, read-write mode, NFC tags. I've got some here. The NFC forum just recently managed to get 4 tag standards out. So this is the first standard. It's already there for quite some time. This tag holds 96 bytes of data, and I can read and write it with the phone. The main use for these tags is to initiate processes in the telephone. So, for example, data transfer. I already brought the example of the internet connection. That's maybe the easiest. I can also have short messages, text messages stored on these tags. There are also tags with more capacity. And I can have, for example, my business card here on this tag. I can have a phone number that is to be called when the tag is touched. And all of these are defined in so-called record type definitions. These are like any protocol, and you know, so it's heavily standardized, it's quite open, and it's quite easy to implement, and they give you a lot of support and tools at hand, so you can also come up with your own record type definitions and introduce them in the standards process. And all of this comes together in one format, in one message format. It's called NFC Data Exchange Format, short NDEF. And this is very common in all NFC applications out there. And one of the most uses for this read-write mode of operation are smart posters. That means posters you can have on the wall, and they are enabled, or some of these NFC tags stick in these posters or inside the poster. And you have clearly marked areas where you can touch with your mobile phone, and then certain actions happen. And you can have a variety of information service over this. We recently did some NFC map, so a city map like you have hanging around in Berlin. And if you enable them with NFC, you can have interesting services. The second mode of operation, the card emulation. Smart cards. There are certain different standards out there. The MIFARE standard, ISO 14443A, I guess, is more common in Europe and the Western world. And Felica is a standard very common in Asia and Japan. And NFC brings both of them together to one circuit. And this is very interesting for payment. So if I have a smart card in this mobile phone, I can use it for everything the smart cards are used today, and that is, for example, payment and ticketing. So you have, especially in Asia and in Japan, you have many public transport systems that already work with smart cards. So you don't have to pay any paper tickets anymore, but you do everything contactless and when entering the bus. I will show some examples later. And what makes this mode of operation very interesting for this audience here is that if you deal with processes like payment and ticketing, then you need to have some kind of security, and this is done via a secure element.